Hello and welcome to the Hindus Parley podcast. I am your host Amol Karhadkar, and since the podcast discusses a topic that has been stealing the headlines during the week, we are here with a discussion on Test cricket. Well, Test cricket is something that nowadays doesn't hog the limelight all the time, although cricket keeps on doing the same week in and week out when it comes to India. But this week, especially after India's sorry show in Test cricket, not just in Australia, but for most of the last 4 months, we are here with a specific topic to discuss, which is Has T20 cricket de-skilled Test batting? And I'm joined by two eminent and prominent guests, a batting stalwart, now a coach, Wasim Jaffer, and the bowling machine, Jaydev Unadkat. Welcome to both of you to the Hindus Parlay.
Thank you, Amol.
Thank you, Amal bhai.
Let's get cracking. And since cricket is obviously a batter sport, let's start off with Wasim bhai. Wasim, has what's your take? Has it de-skilled Test batting?
It surely has, in my opinion, and for some reason, it's quite exciting also, uh, because in our time, in obviously Jaydev will relate to me because we were born when we had to play 4-day cricket, 3-day cricket. We had to score big hundreds, double hundreds to get noticed. But since T20 has come in, the players obviously, at the start of the season, their main focus is T20 cricket. It's very unlike our time where we used to look forward to the Ranji Trophy, getting 800 runs, 1000 runs, or
Correct.
a bowler probably looking to get 35, 40 wickets to get into the Indian team or maybe India A team or even Dilip Trophy for that matter, because that was the pathway. But nowadays, the player look at Syed Mushtaq Ali as something they want to play and do well to get noticed, because IPL provide that platform where you can get noticed. And I'm not surprised, to be honest. Even if I'm playing in this day and age, I'll probably be doing the same. My only concern is that you should fit in all three formats, which sometimes I feel today's youngsters don't do that. Uh, they want to play white ball cricket, they want to play T20 cricket, but sometimes that 4-day cricket takes a backseat. Uh, Maybe they don't have that skill set. Maybe they don't want to adapt to that. Uh, that is my concern. But T20 taking priority, I've got no problem with that. And also, I feel because of the IPL, uh, those small pretty knocks of 30, 40 in quick time uh, does look very good in T20 cricket, but it does not win you games in even in 1-day cricket, or even definitely not in 4-day cricket or test match cricket. So I feel that mentality has to need to be probably speaking to them that even though you want to play in a T20 way, you still need to score hundreds to make a statement or a substantial contribution to your team in winning or losing, because a 30-40 eventually will lose a game. But if you want to play in T20 format or in T20 way, you still need to score 100, which probably Yashasvi Jaiswal has done in an England series where he got quick fire 170 or 200, if I'm not wrong. That is something you need to do. A pretty quick 30-40 runs is not going to win a game. So, and because of that, this certain way that players are playing, you are getting exciting results. You are getting almost all the test matches are getting a result. So that is a very exciting thing for people who are coming out to watch. But I feel the players need to understand in this day and age, up until you are 32, 33, where your body is still fit and strong, you need to still fit in all three formats. You can't run away with red ball cricket. That's what I feel, because that's your basic. But prioritizing T20 cricket, I've got no problem.
Right. Jaydev, Wasim bhai hasn't taken a dig at your age, but what's your take? Do you agree with the fact that T20 cricket has made your job easier when it comes to longer format?
First of all, I do agree with what Wasim Bhai said in terms of prioritizing T20 cricket because you can't really blame the youngsters coming into the game because at the end of the day, everyone would look at financial security and would look at what's going to benefit them, their family the most. And for that, obviously, T20 cricket has helped a lot of players, a lot of families in that way. If you ask me personally, I won't say T20 has helped or has made the job easier because, like Wasim Bhai said, in the times that we have started playing, it was always red ball cricket which was looked up to in terms of starting a season or in terms of doing well in a season. No one really noticed a lot of performances in white ball cricket, I would say. But if you would have scored 1,000 runs in Ranji season, or if you would have taken 40 wickets in a Ranji season, you would then be noticed and everyone will give you the results for that. You would be selected at the higher level. And um, uh, the fact that IPL has come in since the last 15 years now and has, in a way, changed the game. I feel for youngsters because I was talking to Cheteshwar recently, and I think now is the time when we start seeing players who have started their cricket just watching IPL because previously it used to be a mix of T20 and red ball cricket both. Even till I would say 2015-16, players who would be starting their careers or with starting to take professional coaching, they would still see both equally, I would say. But now is the age when players are only seeing that T20 cricket is the way forward. And like Wasim Bhai said, there's nothing wrong in prioritizing T20, but I agree to the fact that a player has to adapt to all the formats. Um, and red ball cricket is hard work, like if I put it that way. If as a bowler, to bowl 18-20 overs a day, sometimes with rewards, sometimes without rewards, it's hard work. And same for the batters as well. If you got to score 100 as an opener or as a number three, you got to grind through spells. You got to play out the sessions, play out some good spells. And in a way, those were the skill sets that people used to see in extraordinary players, not just their ability to hit big sixes and hit big boundaries. So, yes, it is changing, but it's up to the players and also, I mean, the coaches, the BCCI to then not keep a check, I would say, but uh, maybe incentivize red ball cricket in a way so that people don't really get away from that. Especially the new generation now, like I said, the players who started taking professional coaching from about 5-6 years from now. So those are the guys that will need a lot of motivation to play red ball cricket, I would say, down the line. And that's why I feel in the next 5 years it's going to be that much more important, to tell them, to explain to them why playing all three formats of the cricket is important. And like there are skill sets in T20 where you hit boundaries, fours and sixes, and bowl yorkers and slower bouncers, there is another format of the game where there are different skill sets where you play out a, a spell, like I said, or just play through a session to get your team through. Because I don't really want players to forget those skill sets. I don't really want the guys who are coming in now to forget that bowling an 8 over, 9 over spell for the team is sometimes the need of the hour, and they'll have to do that regardless of what workload they're gonna face or what their trainer or their physio would have told them. Because sometimes That's what the team demands from you, and that's what you got to do if you got to excel and if you got to play at the highest level.
Lovely. Both of you touched upon the point that I was coming to, that Wasim bhai, Jaydev's generation is possibly the last one to have played under 14 or under 16 before the outburst of IPL. And IPL, let's accept it, not just for Indian cricket, it's become the epicenter of world cricket now. So, in that respect, is it too much for the old timers to expect the good old Test cricket batting to be on display in the coming years?
Yeah, I think it will be non-existent. To be honest, uh, you will probably won't see the players getting 100 in 200 balls or maybe 250 balls, which we used to see, or a player leaving ball outside off stump for over after over. I don't think we'll see that. You'll see a counter attack. Uh, so that is given. I feel that Cheteshwar Pujara is the last lot of that old batsmanship. He's probably the last guy that we're gonna see. But that is the need of the hour. I mean, that is probably one of the reason why you're not seeing quality spinners also, because to survive in today's cricket, you need to bowl dot balls. Uh, and if today's spinner bowls high looping off spin or left arm spin and he hit for a couple of sixes, suddenly the captain comes to him and then obviously tells him to bowl tighter. Uh, because if you bowl tighter nowadays, the batsman will give in. If he bowls two or three tight overs, even now as a coach, I keep telling the boys that if you keep 3 4 overs tight, you're gonna get one opportunity. That's how the cricket is going. So you don't necessarily need to bowl, the old-fashioned, loopy, spin or that kind of left arm spinner or off spinner. So that's why we are not seeing those kind of spinners also. So this is the outcome because of the T20 cricket. So the fast bowlers, the spinners, they just want to, their mindset is about containing the batsman. They're not, uh, you know, kind of attacking mindset that the earlier generation used to have. They used to think about getting the batsman out. But I don't think that's the way forward now. If you bowl, decently at one place, so even I feel that the bowlers don't have those kind of patience, and the batters also don't have that patience. So it's a fight between those two guys. Whoever gives in, wins the battle. So going forward, I think that's the challenge. I mean, even coaching wise, I would say nowadays you don't anybody who's coming in into coaching, you probably will try and encourage him to attack first and then tell him to learn the defense later. I think that was the other way around when I grew up. Yeah, the earlier the basic was to learn to defend the ball first and learn to attack a little bit later. And I feel going forward, uh, if you teach a young guy to defend first, I think he'll lose an interest because he wants to play all those fancy shots first because that's what he's seen. Like Jaydev has said, today's generation comes into cricket watching T20 cricket. Everybody's scooping the ball, playing reverse sweep, and all that. So that is what they want to play. So you'll probably encourage them to do that, and then tell them that no, the other way, the basic is also as important. But if you try and stop him from doing that right from the get go, I think the youngsters will probably lose an interest because they want to play those kind of shots, watching what they've seen on the TV.
Jaydev?
Yeah, I agree, and I was just thinking. I wish we would have played in this era, Wasim, by where people start to lose patience early. I would have had to bowl a lot lesser to you, because what I remember, we used to fight in terms of losing patience, like Wasim Bhai said. We used to fight that you know batters, for example, used to grind a spell out. That doesn't matter if you bowl me 5 overs, 6 overs, 7 hours on a trot in one area. I'm not gonna play a loose shot, and bowlers at the same time used to bowl same balls repeatedly in the same area, hoping that the batter makes a mistake. But yeah, uh, also the plus point of it, the positive side of it, uh, is that there are a lot more results. The counter-attacking game has produced a lot more results, and that has in turn generated a lot more crowd as well for Test cricket, which is important, which is as important. As players, as we don't really sometimes understand the importance of how much the game needs the crowds, because that's where you generate revenue. That's where the cricket grows. So yes, I think the counter-attacking game has helped that. A lot of results nowadays um, are coming in because of that, and that's where I wanted to point out, like Wasim Bhai just said, someone like a Yashasvi Jaiswal who can fit in every format of the game. He has the ability to hit shots, but at the same time wants to score big hundreds as well. It's not just playing three or like hitting three sixes in an over and then not worrying about getting out. I think you can do both, and it's more about betting, I would say, nowadays, because even as a captain, if I see the shift from T20 cricket to 4-day cricket in Ranji Trophy, I feel the first couple of net sessions are such where the betters just put the bet to everything. You got to remind them that you got to leave some balls outside of stump as well, and and that's why it's important for the individuals to realize, and again, like I said, to incentivize red ball cricket as well, which I think the BCCI is doing really well, and we have seen in the recent times how they've taken steps to prioritize test cricket, because that in turn will make players understand the importance of playing Ranji Trophy more, and giving as much importance, I would say, not more importance, but at least as much importance as they give to Syed Mushtaq Ali or T20 cricket in that respect. Because obviously, we see a lot of guys nowadays who don't really want to adapt, I would say. They do have the capability, but uh, maybe that hunger of fighting it out, maybe they get out a couple of times trying to survive, and then they say, okay, that's it, I'm not going to try and survive that, I'm just going to go for it.
Okay.
So I feel that's where you got to come in as a coach or as a captain, and tell them that no, you still got to fight it out, you still have the ability to play the other game, and you can play both. You can adapt to T20 when it comes, you can adapt to 4-day when it comes, and that, like Wasim Bhai said, at least still a certain edge where you are fit enough to play all formats. The motivation has to be there, the hunger to play all the formats has to be there.
I'll come to the technical adjustment bit and mentoring the kids. But you touched upon generating support from fans, be it at the ground or on TV. But my apprehension is, will it last? If Test cricket ends up being just an extension of T20 cricket, why will anyone follow it over 5 days? Why not just watch it for 3 years and turn to something else? Wasim bhai?
Well, I think T20 will always be the most viewed, I would say, format in my opinion, because the youngsters growing up, obviously the elder people, they won't enjoy it, but the guys who are growing up now, that will always take a front seat. But a Test cricket has its own beauty, I feel, because you know you working hard from day one and getting a result on day four or day five has its own beauty, because it's a game of chess, or it's like a marathon. So people do enjoy. I mean, even now, when you win a Ranji Trophy, it gives you so much pleasure. And when you win a Test match, because you worked hard over a period of 10 games, similarly in football, Premier League, you're working hard over a period of 36 games, and then when you win a trophy, it's a different height, because you've seen so many ups and downs throughout the season, throughout players finding form, losing form, things are happening within the team, and then you eventually winning a tournament. I think that's his own beauty. Test match is pretty similar because you're playing over a period of 15 sessions. Sometimes you're down, then you somehow find a way to get into the game. It's never a straight road in Test cricket. It's always up and down, and then eventually when you win, it gives you a great high. So I think spectators also understand that. We have seen that when India won in Gaba, in that Australia series, that was a different high. No matter how many T20 games we have seen India win, Gaba will always, remain special because that was, backs to the wall, series on the line. It has always remained in our memory. So I feel Test match has its own charm, but I feel what Jaydev said before, the patience, and I feel the hard work. How much the youngsters have that is going to play a very important role because I feel uh, the generation coming through, they don't want to put in that much hard work. They give in mentally very easily. I think if you, as a coach or maybe as a mentor, if you push them, I feel the players have all the ingredients to become good red ball players. I mean, they've got fantastic shots. It's only about adapting to situations. It's only about playing a session or two session, and they can see the results. But like I said before, those pretty 30-40s sometimes feel very attractive to them, and they give in to that. Uh, you know, it, they haven't probably tasted, a batsman batting a tough session and then getting 100. I don't think they realized and felt that happiness. So I feel they've got quality in them, the youngsters coming through, because they play such amazing shots. Like Sam Constas, for an example, playing an inning like that in a first test match. In our generation, we will never would have even dreamt of getting a test debut and playing like that.
Yep.
But today's generation are like that. They can go out and play outrageous shots and get 20, 30, and then giving away you know a test inning or a test match so easily, which probably our generation would have not done. So I feel they just need to understand what once they understand, then sky is the limit for today's generation because they can change a game within a session or two. Similarly, for the bowlers, bowling six ball at one spot is a big challenge for a captain and for a coach to make them understand that this is the ingredient to get wickets. But somehow they don't understand that patience eventually wins you games. Patience eventually gives you result. Similarly to the batsman and bowler. So I think to make them understand is a big challenge for whether it's a captain or whether it's coach or mentors.
Exactly. I would just like to highlight on that, like Wasim Bhai said in the GABA test, you needed a Cheteshwar Pujara and you needed a Rishabh Pant. So it's actually a balance, and I think that starts from the top. If you have a mindset where you are rewarding both type of players, you are rewarding players who can grind it out in the middle, and you are rewarding players who actually can play those shots at a more consistent level than other batters. I feel that's where we find the right balance in terms of uh, uh, batters who can adapt to both the formats. And similarly, I can give an example about bowling for us. We have a couple of young fast bowlers who have come in, really good fast bowlers, but all that they think about when they want to take a wicket is bowling a bouncer or a slower ball or a yorker, even in a 4-day game. So as a captain, when I go ask them what's your plan to take a wicket, I think they would never say that I would stick to the off stump. I would stick to hitting top of off stump and try and check whether the batsman loses his patience or not. So I feel that's a shift in mindset. We got to find the right balance in it.
Okay. My last two questions now. The penultimate bit, both of you touched upon the changing landscape, especially of batting. Wasim bhai, you mentioned about Sam Constas. When you started off, you had those four or six at the most scoring strokes, right? Nowadays, the youngsters have 12 to 15 scoring shots. How do you, both of you, actually make them understand the importance of managing the shots, even in the longer format, or especially in the longer format?
I think first of all, you need to tell them that if you play, for example, even Vijay Hazare or for even that matter Test cricket, I don't think you need 12 shots. First of all, you need to make them understand that you don't need to play 12 shots. Probably 3 4 shots, and you can easily get 100 with those also. So first of all, they need to understand that you've got all the armory with you, but you don't need to use it all. That's where I feel that today's generation batters get confused because they want to play all the shots. even on a flat wicket, you don't need to play a sweep shot because you can score runs by, just playing straight. If the ball is spinning, then I can understand you need to play a little bit more attackingly. But that's what they need to understand, I feel. Uh, so my probably challenge, because I coach Punjab also, and Jaydev would agree that when our batters get going, because recently they scored
Yeah,
424.
they did get going against us. Yeah.
So when they get going, it's very exciting. The bowlers don't know where to bowl because they've got so many shots. They hit, couple of boundaries every over. They can hit sixes as in when they want to. But the challenge is to not overdo it. And I think they've got the balance a little bit right this time because they've spoken within themselves that, after you hit a boundary or a six, the best way is to take a single and go to the other end because you don't need to score 20 in Vijay Hazare. A boundary and over, and then take a single, let the other guy, play the next ball. I think that's the best way. And they've kind of understood that. So that's what the challenge is for the coaches, I feel, to, how to get them to play 100 balls. I mean, if the top one or two, one, two, three, four, if they play 100 balls, they've got the ability to score run a ball or even more easily. So you got to, I mean, keep talking to them and give them the idea, whichever, there are different players, different method works to different players. So how you can get the best out of them is the right challenge. You don't need to stop because stopping them from playing their shots, I think that's not the right way. You need to find that right balance which allows them to, because I also feel that to play in a T20 way in Vijay Hazare is also not the right way, and definitely not in test match also. But finding that right mix, the adaptability that we talk, because test cricket, you don't need to score at 150 strike rate. Even there, you can score with 60, 70 strike rate is good enough. So make them understand that Vijay Hazare 50 over, even if you bat with 100, strike rate is good enough. So not to overdo it and finding that right balance, I feel is the biggest challenge for a coach or for the captains whenever they speak to those kind of people.
Right. Jaydev, are you better off than the Punjab lot when it comes to dealing with young batters?
I absolutely agree, and I saw that with Punjab this year, like Wasim Bhai just talked about, and he I think is at the best position to judge what we are talking about because Punjab has got a lot of stroke players in the side, and they probably have to find the balance more than anyone because those batters, if they want, they can keep going on forever. Like they can keep going on in the T20 mode forever, in be it Vijay Hazare or T20 or 4 day. But uh, like we talked about, I feel everything comes down to balancing it out at the end. Like you said, when the batter has 12 options to score, they got to filter it out and find which are my strongest four out of those 12. So rather than trying to play all those 12 on a particular pitch or on a particular day, they can probably select that these are my 4 to 5 go to options for today. And that's what I'm going to stick to. And I feel the captains and coaches role also has changed in that way because in our times, if someone would have played in their debut game, someone would have played a reverse scoop and gotten out at third man. I doubt if he'll get a second game ever in his career, which has now changed. You see someone doing that in a test match, and I'm sure people around the world are watching it, and everyone will agree to the fact that it's exciting. It's good to see as well that people taking on the best fast bowlers in the world. There's a great contest out there in the middle, but again there has to be a balance, and that's where I think everyone's role has evolved. A captain's role, a coach's role, about how to and I'm sure Wasim bhai would agree to that, and like he just mentioned about how not to stop them, but maybe to guide them to select what's right on a particular surface or on a particular day against a particular side which has certain kind of bowlers.
I mean, today's batters, they are not scared to get out. That I
That's true.
find very hard to
Strange.
yeah, very hard to understand, because if they see a ball which is above their eye line, and even if the fielders are at long off, long on, deep cover, deep mid wicket, they'll still go out and play that high risk shot, which I don't understand, which never occurred to me. But they said, "Arey sir, mera bat chala gaya." But I said, before that, there is a risk of getting out. I mean, we will never think like that, because losing our wicket was like, something very precious for our generation, because we wanted to score 100, we wanted to score double 100. But today's generation are not scared to get out. And that is something which is very, difficult for them to realize, that if you play such high risk game, you could lose your wicket. And, if you keep on doing that for 2, 3 innings, 4 innings, you're, playing for your spot. So somewhere you need to understand that you need to value your wicket as well. So you need to play that low risk, high reward kind of game to be successful. Those 30s and 40s are not going to win you games, especially in 50 over and 4-day cricket. So you got to balance out that, which is your low risk, high reward game, and not all the time high risk, high reward is going to, be successful.
Since all of us are on the same page that it has deskilled, I will not ask all of you for solutions. But what's the way forward? Jaydev, you touched upon incentivizing. You did say that the BCCI has been rewarding red ball cricketers, but the fact is, when in the supply line, when now you have added match fees to the IPL, when the bare minimum contract amount for IPL for a domestic cricketer already exceeds the cumulative amount at the same level for a domestic cricketer for the whole season across formats. On top of that, you have the match fees for 7.5 lakh rupees, which is like three Ranji matches at least, even for the top bracket Ranji players. So, where are we heading towards? What's the way forward?
Look, for me, I think there is no comparison in terms of the incentives that you get in an IPL and that you get in a domestic tournament. That's not going to match. I think it's going to go further away and away, because obviously there's a lot more involved in the IPL, a lot more sponsors, a lot of stakeholders and everything, etc. So you can't compare those two. I feel individually, if we look at domestic cricket, from what Ranji Trophy was, or what a player was getting per match in a Ranji game 2 or 3 years back to now. I think if they keep incentivizing that in a way, maybe that obviously is one of the solutions. And again, just the financial part of it is not the solution. Like we were talking about now, you if you got, some players do have it in them, but I feel they just don't want to go through the grind. So that, I don't know then how that motivation or how that hunger is gonna stay. As long as guys like us, I think we are going to obviously keep telling the other guys, the younger guys, that you got to have that motivation, that hunger. And as long as there are guys who are going to guide the younger lot in a way that uh, they will hold a certain importance for Ranji Trophy, or for playing for their state, for winning the Ranji Trophy and stuff like that. Those are the things that can motivate you, even if the financial rewards remain the same. So for me, it's again, obviously you can give financial incentives and you can keep boosting that as much as you can, but at the same time, you also got to find ways of keeping that hunger, providing that motivation to the younger lot about how much it means for a state to win the Ranji Trophy, or how much it means uh, for a team to win a 4-day contest.
Right, Wasim?
I'm a little against the under 19 boy, especially getting huge contracts. I think somewhere BCCI needs to come in. They need to put a cap of probably 50 lakhs or something. Somebody like the under 19 boy who got 2.5 crore. Somebody who's as as old, as young as probably 15, I think 13, 14, 15, something like that, youngest player. He's getting 2.5 CR. If he hasn't got a good mentor, I think it's going to do him more harm than good, I feel. Uh, so up until you prove yourself after the under 19 level, because I've seen since, because I've also played under 19, I've coached a lot of under 19 boys. I think the life starts for a cricketer after under 19, because you from boys to you turn into men cricket. Uh, so I feel BCCI somewhere needs to come in. I don't know how, because even if you incentivize, first class cricket, the first class cricketer will always want to play IPL. That is always going to be a priority. There's no matter what you do. But yeah, that is a good way to go. Uh, you know, and you cannot justify that, an elite player getting the same amount of money to a Northeast player. That is also one of those things. So that is always going to be a challenge because you are, playing at the same pedestal, but completely different, competition altogether. Uh, and players getting selected out of, uh, for potential, I would say, than performance nowadays. I mean, would you have picked Nitish Reddy from his first class performance into a test side? Would you have played Arshit Rana from what his first class numbers are? Would you have played, uh, you know, a lot of other names that I remember? Would they have played Hardik Pandya for that matter? I mean, he's played, but if you look at his first class numbers, they are playing out of potential. You just think that this guy has got good potential, and you put him in the mix. Uh, you know, Players getting 800,000 runs, 40, 45 wickets, which, Jaydev had done, a lot of other bowlers and batters have done. Do they get picked for India straight away as easily, compared to a guy who scores two or three good, knocks in IPL? So the pathway is lot easier nowadays, and the players understand that if they get an opportunity, they can straight away get into the Indian side compared to hard grind that they go through in Ranji Trophy. It won't still get you there. So things have changed completely. So those are the things I feel we need to look at and get it better.
Awesome points. Thanks a lot, Wasim bhai. Both of you, any concluding remarks if you would like to add anything?
I just wish for the right balance. For me, I want to see down the line there is enough balance and we see Test cricket thriving. That's just a wish.
Yeah, yeah. I think just like I said, in our time there's so many potentially good player who could have become great, had they been given opportunity, which I feel good for a lot of youngsters that they get an opportunity because uh, temperamentally you realize that they are good because they play under pressure in the IPL. So you know temperamentally they're not gonna break down. So that is a good thing. But players, I think, are getting a lot of great opportunities because of the IPL. So I don't think there's nothing wrong in them prioritizing IPL, but they need to find that right balance. They should fit into all three formats and adapt to it, and have patience and work hard.
Lovely. Finding the right balance, that's the right note to end on. Thanks a lot, Wasim Jaffer, and thanks a lot, Jaydev Unadkat, for joining us on this episode.
Thank you, Parley.
Thanks for having us. And just to conclude, I can say that winning a Ranji Trophy was much more satisfying than winning an IPL trophy.
Wonderful. I just hope that all the young cricketers keep listening to this sentence on a loop. And for all of you listening, do give us your feedback on today's episode and keep coming back to the Hindu's various platforms for all the latest in the world of news and beyond.